Hi everybody, welcome to a special edition of Treehouse Knits podcast, Treehouse Knits on the Road. I thought I'd share with you some of the fun I had at YarnCon, which was held April 1st and 2nd in Chicago at the Plumbers Union Hall. What a great location for an event. I had a great time. YarnCon, the tagline is Chicago's Indie Fiber Festival, and it definitely was a regional yarn festival with great vendors from around the Midwest. Some unique items that I want to share with you that I did purchase at the event, and I'll share also with you a class that I took, and I got pretty interested in it. So let's begin. Let's just jump right in. I arrived to YarnCon on Saturday morning, and there was already a line at the door. But it wasn't a Rhinebeck or Maryland sheep and wool kind of line. The line went very quickly. It was just great to see so many people excited about the fiber arts in Chicago. It was a beautiful day. I'll pop in a couple pictures right here. Again, it was a gorgeous day. We got right in, and I hit the marketplace right away. And I went straight for Emanisha of Hopkins Sewing Studio because I was looking for another one of her bags. She's a good fiber friend of mine, and I picked up this really cute, almost sweater-sized bag. I love her bags. If you'll recall my last giveaway, I included one of her bags. They're just really well made. I appreciate the outside pocket that she puts on them, and I thought this Woodland Creatures bag was just super cute. In the inside, she keeps it simple so you can find your items, and she also has included a side pocket, which is nice to separate out your yarn and other things. Yeah, so Hopkins Sewing Studio. I don't know if you can see her tag. She's on Etsy and just a great person to work with and to get quality bags. And she brought along with her really cool electric spinning wheel, which was so cool to see. Anyways, here, I'll insert a picture here because I did take a picture. It's something that is dreamy for me to get. Then I was walking around just kind of taking in all of the sites. What I like to do when I go to a yarn festival is just kind of walk through the whole area, get an idea. Well, before I go to a yarn festival, I like to look at the vendor list and who's going to be there and just kind of circle which vendors I definitely don't want to miss. But I usually do a quick walk through if I can. And the beauty of going to these regional fiber festivals, while it's busy, it's never crowded. You can really get right in and see what you want to see. It was just such a dream to go to. So while I was walking around, I heard someone call my name, and it was the beautiful Liz Nudd. Hi Liz, if you're watching this. And it was so lovely to meet you, Liz. Liz is a viewer of the podcast, and she's commented a lot below underneath. I appreciate that, Liz. And she made me this beautiful project bag. She said that this is a French fabric. I absolutely love this fabric. Just beautiful drawstring bag, so well made, box bottom. I love this, Liz. Thank you so much for stopping and saying hello to me. We chatted a bit, and it was just great to meet you. When I was walking around, I then bumped into my fiber friend Tanya, who is Tanya Thoman of Maybe Crafted. You might recall I mentioned her several podcasts ago when I talked about the Michigan yarn that it's called Welcome Home. She and her friend Carla's a dyer of CJ Coho Designs. They're working together producing Michigan-based yarn. She also is an amazing sewer, and I saw these box bags and thought, oh, I'd like to try using that sometime with a project. Beautiful. I think it's kind of a cool retro pattern, and she uses seatbelt handles. Looks like seatbelt for her handles, I should say. And this really cute lining. So I look forward to using that, trying this style bag out. Next thing I came across was from Bumblebee Acres Farms. This is their YarnCon Party Pack Minis. Lots of different colors. I plan on just caking these up into a magic cake ball and adding them into my Granny Stripe Memories blanket. So I will knit in a little remembrance of YarnCon 2017. Get a close-up of some of those minis. And I also, now I just said I wasn't looking for any hand-dyed yarns, but when you come across Knit Circus at a festival, you definitely have to give them a second look. And I said hi again to the ladies at Knit Circus. I've bought from them before, and I actually attended their retreat with Susan B. Anderson last year with my mother-in-law. And if my mother-in-law is watching, hello, mother-in-law Barbara. I got from them this beautiful skein. You can see the sparkles really well. It's called Fairy Dust, and it's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver poly, 435 yards, and I just liked the subtle gradient. I think it'll be gorgeous in a shawl for myself or for someone. And the colorway is called Blue Neek. So that is Knit Circus. They are a Wisconsin-based company. Okay, so then I was walking around and something stopped me in my tracks. I'll put a picture in here. So if you read the sign, it said farm-based yarns, and this is a company I've not heard of yet. It is a company called Yarn Days, and they have a line called Farm Yarns. And these are specifically sourced fibers from around the Midwest. And what I really love is that the labeling, this, for example, is called the Shire 60/40. It's 60% Romney, 40% Wensleydale. And then she goes on to say that her yarn is sourced from Indiana and Ohio. She gets her yarn spun in Andrews, North Carolina, and then she gets the yarn back and hand dyes it in Lugoti, Indiana, I believe. But she puts all that information on there for you. This is a true place-based yarn, I think, where you can identify exactly where it came from, where it was spun, where it was dyed. And I really appreciated that. So this is a Romney Wensleydale mix, and it's fun to kind of get that particular mix through your fingers and to really feel. I'm assuming the Romney is what's giving it its softness, and maybe the Wensleydale, I don't know, I have to read up on those animals, and we'll discuss that, I'm sure, in both of these particular breeds in a future podcast during our sheepy segment. The other, I got two more. Let me start with this one. This one caught my eye right away. The color I really thought was beautiful, and it was a fingering weight yarn with nylon in it, but it's a Targhee nylon. So it's a superwash Targhee nylon 90-10. Usually I'm not a huge fan of superwash, but for socks I appreciate it. So this will definitely become a pair of socks. I got it specifically for the blend of Targhee nylon, which I've never knit socks with before, so we'll see if that's a hard wearing sock. 468 yards, so it's a thinner sock weight. And this is part of their Highway 50 collection, which is a backroad collection of US domestic yarns. And then she gets them back and dyes them in her studio. And back to the farm yarns, I found this undyed skein. This is an undyed skein of Leicester Cheviot 50/50, and 200 yards. Is kind of a bulky weight, and it's undyed, so I thought it'd be fun to do some natural dyeing maybe this summer and see how that dyes up for me. But again, it's a beautiful blend, and it's a blend of Leicester and Cheviot. So that was fun to talk to her and meet her, and I wish I remembered her name, but it's the lady from Yarn Days. They do have a website, yarndays.com, I believe. Yep, yarndays.com, so check them out if you're interested. I then went into my class, and I took a rug hooking class. So if you've watched other episodes of my show, you'll know that I've inherited quite a few crafting tools from my ancestors. And one of the crafting tools, excuse me while I get it, was this little guy. It's a curved hook. Now, when I was a little girl, I would latch hook with my grandma. And, you know, when I inherited this, yes, it's a hook. It looks kind of like a crochet hook. There's no latch. What is this? Well, it's a rug hooking hook. So I saw that they were teaching a class on rug hooking, an intro to rug hooking, and I thought that would be really fun to just kind of learn that particular craft. The teacher came from Green Mountain Hooked Rugs, and we each got a kit to start. It's a seasons kit. They had all different seasons. I picked fall. So Green Mountain Hooked Rugs, I believe this company was founded in the 1800s by one of the current owner's grandmothers, and she was very big in the rug hooking fiber arts industry, and she actually started the Rug Hooking Association. And they've just passed down this company generation to generation to the ladies of the family. They also run a Green Mountain Rug School, which is held in Vermont every year. And it was just a great hour and a half or 2-hour class where I started rug hooking. You know what I really liked about the rug hooking is there was no needle involved. I enjoy a little bit of embroidery, or I did some cross stitch, but it never really excited me that much. And I think it's because of all the threading of the needle and all the little fine yarns, the floss, I guess. I just thought this was really easy to do, relaxing, and something I can use my yarn stash for or with. So I'm excited to just pick this up. I do have a bigger, right now I made a makeshift frame out of an old picture frame, but I do have a smaller rug hooking frame, actual frame coming. So I will just keep working on this, but yeah, I really liked it. I think it's because there's no needles involved. It's just another way to use your yarns. And the other thing that I really liked about rug hooking is that it was something that was started by, well, they don't know exactly where it started, but in the United States, in this country, immigrants would come over and they didn't have a lot of luggage space, but they had enough room for a hook. And especially from the farming immigrants, they would immigrate here, they would start their farms, and they would use what they had on the farm to do their crafting, which their crafting was actually creating useful things for their home. And the ladies of the house, what was available to them? The burlap sacks from the feed for the farm. And they would take the burlap sacks, and then they would take old fabric from clothing that, old clothing, they'd make strips of it, and then they would hook it into beautiful rugs. So I'll insert a few pictures of some beautiful hooked rugs just to give you an idea of what the final product looks like here. So that was my exciting class that I took. One other item I wanted to show you that I thought was really cool was from Burr Oak Studio. And this particular crafter takes old knitting needles, those old metal knitting needles that our ancestors all used, straights, and turns them into creative jewelry like necklaces, earrings. This happens to be a shawl pin. You can see the needle is bent around. Those are knitting needles. And as I was in the booth, I overheard the owner say that she accepts knitting needles, old knitting needles, for trade for any of her items she makes. I'm going to insert a picture here of some of the items that she creates. checking out more. I've liked her on Facebook, so I'll follow some of the things that she's making. But I thought that was such a creative, unique way to reuse old items that might otherwise just be thrown away by a lot of people, to be honest. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was this felted necklace. And I have absolutely no idea what studio I got this from. At the show, the lady didn't have a business card, but I'm going to look it up. If I can find it on the vendor list, I will put the name down here. I thought this was such a creative use of, looks like silk scarf that was cut into strips, and then little felted balls were sewn on. And then you can just kind of tie it and wear it as a necklace or kind of a scarf. Yeah, so I picked that up as well. So you can see I did not get a lot of yarn. I got some unique items, and overall YarnCon 2017 was so much fun. If you live in the Midwest, even if you don't live in the Midwest, this is a great day out. Not a huge overwhelming show, but certainly a lot of vendors to keep you occupied, and really nice unique vendors as well. So thanks so much for watching my YarnCon special, Treehouse Knits on the Road, and we will see you next time on probably the podcast. Take care. Bye.